Marion. How are you?
I'm
I
good. How are you? Can
I
you hear me?
can hear
Am
you,
I audible
but
enough?
your video is kind of distorted.
It,
Hmm.
yeah, damn it. Oh shit.
No, no,
I
no.
dressed up for
You're still
nothing.
looking good. How about you? How's the evening been? How's the day been?
Great. Very good. Went for a massage. Been a long weekend. Week and also the weekend coming up because it's Independence
I know
weekend.
you've been
So there's like a
you've
lot
been busy
happening.
with the whole show that
So yeah,
happened, right? I read your whole
yeah.
right. I read your whole write up
That has,
about you being an introvert and then you're standing on stage without anything in hand. I'm sure you're
yeah.
super proud of yourself.
Proud is like a high. I want to go back.
Got
It's kind of high. Like I'm like meant to like so happy. I wanna go back up again and I wanna talk again like that. But till it happens, you do not know you're good at it, right? And it was very
Good. All
good
right.
for me.
Right, we're at
Yeah,
8:02. I think we should start. We've already got a few people joined in. Thank you guys for joining right on time. Appreciate it. All right.
yeah,
So this is Marion. Marion, let's start by giving you a small chance to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do.
yeah. So I'm Marion Mendes, co-founder of Think and Buy social media agency as of now. And we do social media for various brands and businesses. And another important thing that we do, and we're the only ones in India doing right now, is
Marion,
social media. So when we started
Marion,
the
I'm sorry, I'm
company,
going to
we were the
jump
only
in.
ones.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of background. So if I can request you to maybe be a little louder. I know you're out somewhere, but if you can be a little louder, maybe that will help.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'll start again. I'm Marion Mendes, co-founder of Think and Go social media agency. And when we started, the company started in 2020, and we used to be the only ones doing social media with content creation in our packages, like professionally shot. And fast forward to today, we are again doing something very unique, and the only ones doing social media here in Goa. And this is a perfect like the topic today is perfect that we are talking about, because if we're talking about building our brand and building our personal brand, right? And that was a mistake that I did when I started, where I didn't brand myself. I was just about the
Right.
company,
So,
just
so
like
ho-
trying to get more
hold on to
clients.
that thought
Yeah.
because you're just about getting into my first question for you. But before you go there, let's just
Yes.
thank all the guys for coming in. Z Brad, Steve D'Souza, thanks for joining. A little about what I do. My name is Cedric Fernandez, and I'm part of a company called Engage HR. We are a human resource company, and we do this every Sunday. We go live with very interesting people, just like Marianne herself, to talk about people, person, life, work, anything that's related to helping people go ahead in life. And that's what we're talking about today. Like Marion already started by saying, what we're talking about today is building brand you. That's the topic for today. Why did I select Marion for this? I don't think I know anyone else as influential on social media today, in my close circle, that is. Before we start, I'd like to give a small introduction of how Marion and me met. And we're both part of this business network called BNI, and that's what introduced us. I remember when Marion and me got talking, she introduced herself as an introvert, someone who doesn't really make friends or gel with people really quick. And while she was saying that to me, in my mind, I was like, is this girl for real? Because she was absolutely she was absolutely talking with everybody around. She was networking to the way that you actually network. And then she said she's introvert. But that's what starts our topic today. Marion is a very interesting journey, and I want you to take us through your journey from you being a student to where you are today. Take us through that journey in short, if you could.
Uh, okay,
Please.
great one. Something I love talking about. So I'm actually an engineer. And just like any my story is quite different actually. Like normally people around will tell you about how their Indian parents force them into getting into like a doctor or engineer, right? Like that's what it is. But for me it was quite the opposite, where my mom was telling me no, 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 from science in 12th standard you come down to doing arts. And I said, why? You made me study 12th science and now I'm not going to go down. And I fell in love with coding. And I said, after I like coding so much, I want to get into engineering. And I was in Kuwait, and from there, I wanted to do coding. I wanted to get into computer engineering, but I couldn't get a seat because we are not from here. And so we started doing that's why I got into electronic engineering. And I fought with these parents to do electronic engineering, flunked very badly, 5 out of 6 subjects in my first semester. And I was like, what the hell have I done? Like now I cannot go back and tell the same parents that I don't want to do engineering anymore. So I somehow pushed myself through it. I had a cup, like I had good friends who helped me study, and in the very next semester, answered 11 subjects and passed 9 out of those 11. And still had 2, which I cleared in the next semester, and then I didn't have a back after that. But even though I didn't have a back after that in my third year, I was like, I never wanted to do this. I was like, why am I doing electronics? I'm not happy with it. What do I do? And reading under the table on my phone, going up to career paths, because all I told myself that get past this, get that degree in your hand, and then do whatever you want because your parents are not going to allow you to do something else. And that's when I got introduced to the subject of write. I knew I was good in writing. I knew I could write anything. So I said, let's see what career options are there for me in writing. And that's when I got introduced to content writing, from content writing to influencer marketing, to realizing that both of these topics fall under this vast subject of digital marketing. And that's how I got into digital marketing and started learning and studying under the table. All my knowledge that I have, it's all watching YouTube videos online, doing courses online, and and then of course, experimenting it out on myself. That's how I got into this field, and yeah, very happy that I ended up,
Very, very, very
coming here in this
interesting. So,
path.
Marion, most of our viewers, most of the people who joined today as well are either students or people who are the start of their career. Some of them are friends and people who are really established already. But I like to
Yeah,
point out a few things that Marion's brought out here, which I'm sure resonates with most of you guys, resonates with me as well. She said stuff like she did her electronic engineering and she was sure that she didn't want to, but she still had to because parents, and she made the choice. She didn't want to go back on the choice. I'm sure all of us have done that sometime in our life. Made a choice, regretted it, knew we didn't want to do it, but we still went ahead. So, and I and as we go through this talk, you'll understand why is it impossible to connect dots. Looking forward all the time, but when you look behind, a beautiful picture is formed, and Marion is one of those epitome examples here. The other thing she said was studying under the table. Sounds more like she was bribing someone, but actually she was just doing it because she couldn't obviously let the parents know. But the point that I'd like to pick out from here is that the one thing that Marion, I'm sure, did not do wrong was she understood what she really wanted to do. She was finding herself at that point of time. Students, for you, if you've done something and you're not sure whether it's the right choice, find what you really like doing because someone said it. I don't know who, that if you do something you really love, you're not going to feel like you're going to work another day in your life. And that's super, super important. Marin takes me to my next question. You haven't told the guys how successful you've become today, how many followers you have. Tell them a little about the show that you did a few days back, um, how that really has taken you to the next level. But in this entire success story of yours, how important, and you were almost starting that and I stopped you there, how important has brand building been for you individually as a person, not only your company, but as a person? How important has brand building been for you?
yeah. So, right from the start, like I had started saying that when we started the company in 2020, we were just in that rut of finding more clients, trying to pay the bills or pay whatever that we needed the money for, right? And we had for a certain amount of time, very much neglected on branding us as a company. And just, we were just like trying to find. Then came a point where people started recognizing us for the work that we were doing, recognizing us by our names, recognizing the fact that, Marion, or this is Marion's brand, like Pink and Gold as a company was never known. It was more about me because I would, I would go out, talk to people. For me, I just want to say, like, I don't know what's the right word to say. There is a right, it's introverted extrovert or extroverted introvert, one of those two. That's what I am. Like, honestly, I love being at home and not being in the comfort of myself. But but if I am in a crowd, you'll never show on my face that, I want to go home. I can talk to people, I can start a conversation with everyone and anyone, right? So that's, you know, where I started. When I would talk to people, that's when people would realize, like, oh, you're handling that brand. And that's when I realized, like, how important it is for people to know me as a person. And, it is not about just the company. The company will be formed and the company is doing really well. But it is very important for people to know about me and my journey, because that is what they resonate with. They resonate with my story and understanding that when I tell people in the start, I would hide the fact that I was an engineer and the whole story that I told you all in the start. But then, that is what made people resonate with me, that she's passionate about what she's doing. She's not doing it because of a career or because she wants to make money, right? I love every day. I love every part, every new strategy that comes out of my brain, every new line that I write in a caption. I love that part, and even I surprise myself. But that only happens when people know me and when I brand myself. So that's how, this whole journey has been. And, like meeting and talking to people and making a name for myself and explaining to them who I am.
Sure, right. So,
You know,
so guys,
that's
what I'm
it.
picking out from what Marian just told us here is that it's not only important that the company builds a brand for itself. Marian's an entrepreneur today. She has her own company. It's called Pink and Gold. She does social media and digital marketing. She's becoming a wedding curator for content. And the most important part that she brought out in this answer to the question that I had for her is it's not only important that the company builds a brand, it's very important that people around know you as an individual too, because that's what then motivates customers and clients to come towards you. That's on a company front. Marian, I'm going to ask you a different question now, which is from an individual's point of view. I know you didn't have to do it, or maybe you did at some point of time in your life, but do you think that if a person brands themselves enough, does the right things, the correct things at the correct time, do you think that can help them in their careers in terms of getting a better job, maybe getting a better salary? Do you think that that could help? That plays a role?
Definitely, definitely, because that's how people also come to know who you are as a person and what your interest lies, and what are the things that you like to do. And, because we are living in a world today that, it's easy to fake anything, right? It's easy to fake anything. It's easy to be, I mean, it's very difficult to be real, to be honest. But so when you're branding yourself, when you're talking about, I like to do this, so your recruiters also know if you're the right fit for them. Like, because I look a lot of about that when I'm recruiting. I ask them, if I don't, my questions are never about what's the best campaign you did or what's the best line that you ever wrote or strategy that you created. For me, I want to know who they are as a person, because only based on that I will be able to, add value to my company and also the people that we are dealing with. Because every brand that comes to us, it has a lot of emotions in it, right? Like, they are also, it's their baby. So most of them are new brands that they're starting, and they want to, they want people who put in that much passion also. So yeah, it's very important to, brand yourself and also to put yourself out there, as difficult as it can be. You know who you are and what your likes and interests are, because I know it is very difficult. It's difficult for me, on certain times. Like, what would people think? Would they think I'm bragging? Would they think that I'm just making up, I'm just faking it? It's like, the, what's it called, imposter syndrome comes like mad every time. But you need to, like, be yourself out there, talk about who you are, do the if you know that you want a certain particular job, then act like this. Don't act completely different. You
Absolutely,
cannot be
I
two
agree.
different
She's
people.
made a very, very important point, guys. From a job point of view, I think that fits in perfectly. The point that she made is that when she takes interviews, because she's hiring people for her company every day, she made a point that when she's hiring for her company, she doesn't want to just know specifics about the role that this person is applying for. She wants to know the person. What she's actually trying to say in human resource terms, what we call that is we're trying to find out if that person's a cultural fit for the organization. Every organization has its own culture. Every organization creates its own DNA. Are if I'm hiring, let's just take a very vague example. If I'm hiring an accountant for my company. An accountant is someone who works at the back, right? They're working on tally, they're entering information. How then, or why then, does an accountant need to match the culture of the company? They're never really interacting with the customers. But please understand, it's not only about the customers. A company is not made about customers only. A company is formed not just by computers and servers, it's about people. If people come together and start working together, and the egos are being kept aside, dynamics of human beings are matching together, magic can happen in a company. She's made a super important point that when she hires someone, she wants to know who you are as a person. Is it important to build your brand online? How do you do it? There's so many ways. As a recruiter, when we are recruiting people, depending on the level of who the person we're hiring, more importantly than your resume, we go to see if you have a LinkedIn profile. And if you have a LinkedIn profile, what are the companies you're following?
Yeah.
Who are the organizations you're following? What are the comments you're putting? It shows so much about you. If you're at a lower position, if you have a Facebook account, what are you sharing? Are you sharing a lot of stuff about bikes? But so then that says that you're a biker, you're interested in bikes. Super important point, Marion, that you want to know the person that you're hiring. What are the steps? How do you advise young people in terms of career, job, business? What steps can they take to create a favorable brand that an employer or an investor can look at them positively? What's your advice?
I think a very sad reality that we are living in is that I know that there's a lot of slang happening. The way we talk has changed a lot since the day at the time that I was going for interviews, giving interviews, and the time that we were giving interviews, and the way we dress up and talk was very different than what it is right now, right? And while it's okay to I'm like that. I will talk the same way. I talk in a very different way with my friends. But the words of stuff like bro and dude when you're sitting with your peers and you're sitting with somebody who's a potential investor, like you said, a potential employer of yours, is something that is very important to look at, and even swear words. Of course, we live in a world today that it's okay, it comes out. Your friend circle is a different thing, and this doesn't by any means like, because I'll give you an example. There was this one hire of mine, and she kept on typing to me whenever she'd send me a message. She would send me in capital letters, and I would tell her, like, I'd request her, please don't, when you're, I don't like caps. You can, cut down on the caps. And there was a point, like, she went on doing it again and again, and I was like, I tried to understand, like, what exactly is wrong with her. And then somebody from the office told me, she made a comment, just because Marion doesn't like this, why should I change myself? I am going to do it purposely now. And she made sure that every time she texted me, she would text me in caps. So these are like these small, small rules, right? That you got to understand. It's dynamics. It's dynamics of being in your, when you're with a person who is hiring you, there's a little amount of respect. Like, you would not go and tell bro and do to your father, right? You would definitely not do that. So those are the things that I feel that any new employee needs to take care of, or needs to be very mindful of, at least when you're with a certain group of people, especially somebody who can give you money.
Very true. Being mindful. I'm going to take that point from this answer. Being mindful about what you do. Besides recruitment, what Engage HR also does is we do a lot of training with students. We're doing a program called Off to Work, where we are getting people ready from campus to corporate. And one of the topics in that is
Yeah.
the way or the language of communication used with your peers in college and your peers in office at work. And you've made that point with bro, and my 7-year-old son has started saying bro, and I'm wondering where he gets that from. But if a 7-year-old is saying it, I'm sure a 15, 16-year-old is saying it too. But yes, can you draw that
Yeah.
line, between work and play, or work and friends? It's difficult to draw that line if you're not being mindful about it. So I think that's the most important term. And you've got to be mindful, like Marion said, especially if that person is giving you money, which means, especially if that person is either your client or your employer, you're going to have to draw that line. And it's so difficult for this generation. By saying that, I make myself feel old, but I am old. But it's so difficult to draw that line, and I think that is a very strong part about branding, because that language is going to come out everywhere, not only in the way you speak, but the way you type, the way you write. Like Marian said,
Yeah.
someone in her office kept typing in capital. Now, in email and in written communication, capital letters means you're yelling at somebody. You're being loud about it. You're trying to make a hard point because that person hasn't been listening. Now, if you're typing everything in capital, we're going to have a problem, right? Especially that person is doing it to a boss. He's surely going to have a problem with that. Um, Marian, so I mean, what is the next step for Marion? I want to know, where is it that you're going, because you started from electronic engineering and today you're one of the leading digital marketing companies in Goa. Where does Marion go next, and how are you planning to get there?
Marion, the next thing for her is definitely a lot more companies than what she is owning right now. I want to see, I want to give back. There was a point, a lot of people who gave me a lot of knowledge. Mr. Andre Shackleton, for example, we both know him very personally, right? From my college days. If it was, I don't know, I really do not know, but I'm pretty sure that he sparked something in me at some point to start like to have entrepreneurship in the back of my mind. Of course, it went through a different route. It's not like I heard him and I directly started my business, but I'm sure he sparked something in the back of my head somewhere, right? And so he was something who gave me a lot of knowledge even without asking for, and he still is. If anytime I'm stuck anywhere, he will, he'll just give me.
It's all right to smile, because I know you're reading the comments, so
Anyway,
it's good to smile.
yeah. So that's what I want to do, but I want to give back. Anybody like me who is probably in another journey, doing something else that they did not really think would be the right thing for them to do, and they're thinking of another career path. I'd love to open them to this field, whether it works for them or not. That's the secondary step for them to figure out, right? But to at least introduce them to it's possible and you can do anything that you want to do, as long as your mindset is right. And this doesn't even mean like, oh, maybe, I don't know, if one day, what is it, motivational speaking, maybe that's another thing I'd love to explore, because it is not, I have seen so many people coming, they have seen my journey very recently. In fact, this happened yesterday. This girl I met when we were going for placements in college, and we never interacted ever after that. During that placement drive, we were together, so we followed each other on Instagram. We've been following each other. And then some months back, she was like, Marion, can you please make some time and meet me? And like something just told me from inside, yes, okay, like let's meet. And then made me figure out a time and a place. And I said, what's up? And then she's like, Marion, I don't know, like I'm just not feeling myself. She was fine, everything was good about her. She was getting a good pay, she was living with a good family. Everything was fine. She's like, I'm just not feeling it. Something is off about me. I look at you and I see you dancing and I see you going for these activities and you seem like you're doing really great, but how do I get there? So that's when I was like, what, the people are watching me and understand, like, and they wanted to talk to me. And then we sat and I explained to her, like, don't believe everything that you're seeing. I told her few couple of stories that I really went through, and I told her how dancing was one medium that really helped me at a certain stage in my life. And yesterday I saw a post that she took that advice and she went for a salsa class, and she completed her level 1 of salsa. So, I felt really happy that, I could, something that I said has impacted somebody. And she was very happy, like at least. And she also said, yes, I finally did it. And this is what she told me. Yeah, this was an exact conversation. She said, I never knew that there was something in Moscow. And after we met, I just decided to put dance classes in Moscow. And from nowhere, this class popped up. And I said, yes, the universe works in, funny ways. Like if you want something, it will come to you, but you really gotta want it, badly. So that is where I want to, help people out there. Maybe it isn't the same career path that I'm doing right now. Maybe it can be something else, whatever it is. But that drive, that passion, that fire really needs to be inside you. I really do not think that there is anybody, um, at least from the very few from the people I know who works as passionately as I do. Like everything that I do, every client of mine, it's just so important to me, and I don't see that drive anymore. And if I can like help another person to get it, and it is a different thing. People don't realize that they're in the wrong place. That's what I want to do.
Right, Marion. Thanks for that. We. I mean, I think I've got most of it, but we have a lot of, I think, poor internet from at your end. But I've kind of picked up quite a lot of
Oh,
what you said. For the guys who've joined in, Marion, I think you've got a very strong follower, Dira here. She's got food waiting for you. She's tempting me with the food, like chicken
yes,
teriyaki
thank
and
you,
steak.
please.
She's got to stop that. I'm hungry. All right. So, but yeah, taking off from what Marion said, guys, look at what's happening. There are people typing here. Marion, speaking about uh, the people typing blah blah blah, and that's obviously because she's got new followers, and it defines you with what you do and how you do it, right? Keep doing things that bring you into the limelight because it's very, very important that you get noticed with what you're doing. Employers are looking for people today. Today, employers don't only look at your resume, they look at a lot more of what you do. Marion is electronic engineer, turned digital marketer, turned social media expert, and now she's standing on stage and talking. And next, she says she wants to do motivational speaking. I want you to see that graph. The graph is, well, it's shooting out of the roof, but it's all because of the way that she branded herself, and that's what's got her to where she is today. The closing points, guys, here is that Marion said it's super important that you guys brand yourself at every step that you do, especially online. For students today, while you're doing your thing on Instagram and Facebook, it is also important that you're doing the correct things to brand yourself, to bring yourself ahead to employers, investors, depending on what you want to get into, whether it's business, entrepreneurship, or a job. So it's super important, and branding does help. The live example sitting right in front of you, and that's the reason why I had to call Marion here today, because I believe that her journey from electronic engineering to today motivational speaker, blah blah blah, is obviously has been a beautiful journey for her. Marion, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for all your insights. Your personal,
Thank you. I hope you could hear
we
me
heard
clearly.
80% of what you said. We've had a little internet issues, but that's absolutely fine because there are a lot of people who joined from your end, and thank you so much for joining us today. Your story is always super, super motivational, and there are so many students here, and I'm sure that they've heard what you've said from electronic engineering to where you are today. It's okay to have made a choice, and it's okay to have then decided that that's not what you want to do. It's okay to change because change is inevitable and it's the only constant. So do not fret it. Marion didn't at the start. She did, but she did, and I'm sure now she agrees
Yes.
that uh, change only helped her, and she's doing so much better for herself. So, Marion, thank you for your life story. It's always very motivational. And now, Dira is saying beef
Yes.
stroganoff. Dude, whoever this girl is, you need. She's got a whole menu laid out for you. Great. So, well, Marion, thank you for being here. I hope I see you soon in person again. And thank you for all your
Yep.
insights. Stay safe and keep growing, keep talking, keep motivating
Yes.
people. People love to hear you speak. I know I do. And we'll see each other soon. Take care.